this morning, but I guess it's afternoon now, to talk about resumes. Um, it's probably the first thing that students want to talk about when you're ready to start your job search process. So we wanted to lead off with that, and we're glad to see you here today for this first workshop within our Get Ready for Fall Recruiting series. So we're just to introduce myself quickly. My name is Dana Quist, and I'm one of the career advisors here in Engineering Career Center here in Thornton Hall. I'm here with my colleagues Heather Palmer and Frances McBride, who are also advisors in the Career Center. And we are so lucky to have with us today Alex Rodriguez and Taylor Walker from CoStar, who will be doing the workshop portion of this event. And then will be available also later for resume reviews during the afternoon portion. So we're super excited to have CoStar here. They're such a big supporter of everything that we do here at engineering. There is a CoStar Day that's scheduled for September 5th. And Alex, I'm sure you'll want to say a little bit about that when you start your presentation. We also have a new member of our Engineering Career Center team that a lot of you might not know, Nathaniel Hughes, who's our employer relations. He will be working with our employers and with students and in a lot of different capacities within our office. So hopefully you all will get a chance to meet him a little bit later in the resume review portion. There are a couple of other events that I'll just mention really quickly happening this week related, that are part of this Get Ready for Fall Recruiting event. There is a session tomorrow on LinkedIn best practices at 2:00. We'll be doing at noon. We'll be doing a Ask Me Anything session with Frances, Heather, and I. Just anything you want to know about how to get started on your job search or your internship search. We'll be answering questions at noon. And like I said, the LinkedIn workshop at 2:00. We'll do a technical interviewing workshop on Thursday at 11, and then a behavioral interviewing workshop on Thursday at 12. So I encourage you to take part in as many or any of those that work for your schedule. This is around this today. Right now, we're going to be talking about resumes. There are other resume events that will happen throughout this early part of the fall, late summer. So the main Career Center does a resume review, a resume marathon, they call it, on my calendar, on August the 29th. And then we're in engineering, we'll do another resume workshop just to catch people maybe who couldn't attend today, or for anyone that wants just to kind of go through again on September the 3rd. I'll mention our career fair coming up September 11th and 12th. So hopefully that's on your calendars. And there will be a couple of events getting students ready for that career fair event. One on September 2nd that Heather will be leading on just navigating the career fair, navigating nervousness at the before a career fair, and helping you make the most of it when you're there. So stay tuned for newsletters from our office that will continue to go out on Tuesdays that will have all that information kind of nice and curated for you in that Tuesday newsletter. All right, so today, just to give kind of a quick view of how this is going to work today, we're going to do the workshop portion from 12 to maybe 12:45 or so. And then we'll take a break and then come back here at 1 for the individual resume reviews with employers. And we will have CoStar obviously here. We have CapTech, Deloitte, Geico, and then our executive in residence that's been worked with our office for a long time, Bob Bremer, and then a UVA alum, Art Fuller, who works for Paraveda. And then we'll probably also, depending on the need, we might have Francis and Heather doing reviews too. So our goal is to have everyone that wants to have their resume reviewed have a chance to sit down and talk with someone for it. It'll probably be 10 or 15 minutes or so. All right, I think that's all the housekeeping things. Francis, Heather, anything you can think of that you want to add?
Think you got it.
Okay, well, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alex and Taylor and let you all take it away.
Hi everyone. Thanks for the kind introduction there, Dana. Super excited to be doing this workshop with you all, and obviously really excited to get back on grounds when you all return to the university. I'm Alex Rodriguez. For those who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I do see some familiar names in the audience. So if I've had a chance to speak with you over the summer, it's great to see you here today. I am a campus recruiter with CoStar Group. I've been with them since November of last year, and I am based in the Charlottesville office location.
Hi, everybody. My name is Taylor Walker, and a very similar background to Alex. I've been here since the end of last November. I'm a campus recruiter, and I work in the Charlottesville office as well. So, and I do see some familiar faces. So, hi, everybody.
And as Dana mentioned, we will be, once you return to school, we'll be on ground. So, come say hi to us. We'll be there on September. Let me see there. We'll be there for the CoStar Day on September the 5th. We'll be in Darden Court, so we'll have some engineers with us as well. So great opportunity to stop by, speak to us about our, recruitment process. And if you have any sort of, technical questions that you want to ask our software engineers, I definitely recommend stopping by to say hi. And we'll also be have the pleasure of being there at Tech Night Takeover on the 3rd as well. So really excited just to be back on grounds and to see you all soon.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take it over. We'll jump to today's agenda. So today we're going to go over the purpose of a resume. We're going to give you some examples of some resumes. We're going to go over some do's and don'ts, the contents of your resume, and some best practices. Okay. So starting off, before classes start, we'll give you a pop quiz. So I'll ask, why do you need a resume? You guys can either put it in the chat, blurt it out, or is there a raise your hand function? Anybody? Okay. Well, I will move on to some of the things that we've listed.
So someone
So,
said in the
oh,
chat,
okay. Okay.
to show employers everything you can bring to the table for your prospective job.
Yes, I love that. That is definitely something. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I see some more in the chat. They're coming through. There's many candidates to go through. Resumes help recruiters get the Cliff Notes version. Absolutely. So employers know your current skill sets when applying. Yes. Let employers know your previous experience and skills to summarize your skills and experience. A summary of the skills that you have developed, which can add value to the company. It can be a good way to summarize all you bring to the table, especially since employers get so many candidates and may need to review them quickly. Absolutely. And it also provides a snapshot of your professional background, qualifications, helping you make a strong initial impression. Absolutely to every one of those. Those were perfect. And this last one, to properly present yourself, your experiences, and talents to employers to aid employers in the selection process the clearest way possible. Absolutely. Thank you guys. So I will just drop in some that we've listed. maybe. So first, to obtain an interview, not a job. So yes, be mindful that this is just the first step, okay? Then it's usually required by most organizations. Yes, it is absolutely required. So I've even had several applications or applicants forget to add their resume to their application. So don't be that person. Make sure to always double check your work when you're submitting an application. Make sure your resume is in the application, and it is a marketing tool. Um, so at a first glance, a resume needs to catch someone's eyes. The goal is to work smarter, not harder. A resume is a condensed timeline of your experiences. So it's important to have this as a component of your application to show how you spend your time. Your resume should be clear, concise, and easy to read. It's the chance to get in the maybe pile over the no pile. So just be sure to list your experiences in chronological order. So, next question. Can anyone tell me on average how long does a recruiter spend initially reviewing a resume? Then I'll be looking in the chat. I got 6 seconds, 10 seconds. I've heard around 10, 20 seconds. Yes, less than 10 seconds. You guys were all correct. Yes, it does depend on the job level, but yes, it's typically less than 10 seconds. So that's why it's truly important to have a pretty good resume. So we can just look over it pretty quickly. We skim over it and we can tell within at least 10 seconds. So thank you guys. All right, so now we're going to take a look at 3 resumes, and I'll have some volunteers let me know what's good about the resume and what are some areas of improvement. So, looking at this resume that's up on your screen, can anyone tell me what's something that's good and some areas of improvement? I'll give it a few seconds. Okay. I have someone that said, I like the relevant skills section. The resume format seems a bit non-standard. Yeah, too many words. The relevant skills are very easy to read quickly, hard to find the name. Each experience shows quantifiable impact. It's a bit difficult to find personal information, mainly their name. Providing contact information. Everything in this in chronological order. Action verb solid. Possibly a better action word is collaborated instead of worked with. Yes, these are all really good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I definitely think there absolutely needs to be a name on this resume. Um, so that's what they're forgetting. The format could be worked on, like contact information, education, and skills should be moved up underneath the name if there was one. And we can take out the career objective paragraph. But what all of you guys said was pretty spot on. So thank you. And moving on to the next resume. Okay, so this resume, what are your thoughts on this one? What are some good things? What are some things that they could work on? Yep, education should be moved up. Large open margin. On the bottom right, education should be higher. No photo is needed. I take out the high school diploma, empty spaces. Don't really need profile section. There's a lot of empty spaces. Yes. Yes, you guys really did get that. So, first thing, when I'm looking at this, we do not need a picture. So definitely he doesn't need that. That profile section can be taken out too. And on the side where it has details and links, this can be moved under their name. His skills section can also be moved under the name and details. Um, our references, okay. We don't with CoStar Group, I'll say specifically, we don't necessarily look at references. As recruiters, your references will come when you're given the background check. Um, Someone said name is nice and visible. True. Yes, that's a good one. If this was a physical copy, the link should be provided. Yes, yes. All right, perfect. So I'll move on. All right, lastly, what are your thoughts on this resume? Let's see, clear sections. It looks good, organized and concise. Uses white spaces, clarify dates. It's not the same as the rest of the resume. Good. Sorry, so I have on here the names font is not the same as the rest of the resumes, but good organization. Very clear bolding and it helps draw the eye to action and important words. It could probably differentiate, isolate relevant skills from technical skills, having a separate header. LinkedIn would be helpful, but other than that, looks solid, no links. Yes, so I will say that this is actually a really, really great resume, and it's really in the standard format that CoStar would like to see. But what everybody said was correct. We could work on those dates, making those dates for projects and the relevant experience more clear. Also, I will note at the top where you see the address. I always just pinpoint this out. It's a little thing, not super important, but I don't recommend having your address. We don't need to know exactly where you live, your exact address. So just have the city and state. That's just something nitpicky about me. But yes, this is a pretty great resume. So now, yeah, I will go ahead and pass it on to Alex, and she'll go into more detail about the formatting and what belongs and doesn't belong on the resume. All
Thanks,
right.
Taylor. Hi, everyone. Um, so we kind of Taylor kind of walked through, what we kind of like to see on a resume. So unfortunately, resumes they're not a one fits all. So what I would say is when you are looking at positions that you're interested in, please do tailor your resume. It can be, writing a resume can be, frustrating at times because it is very subjective. You can send your resume to, 5 different people and you might get 5 different suggestions back. So just creating a document that presents the information in a way that makes sense to you and to your intended audience is going to be important. So some of the things that you want to see on a resume is, like Taylor mentioned, your name and contact information, your education, your anticipated graduation date. I see a lot of resumes, your students might put on the resume when they started school. And yes, we can all do the math, but it just makes it so much easier for a recruiter, remembering that we typically only spend 10 seconds to review a resume is just to see when your expected graduation date is. And also, we don't like to assume. We meet students all the time who might, do more classes and, be graduating early. So just having that information up front is super helpful. Having your GPA listed, also anything, I would say a 3.0 or higher is awesome. So definitely, list that on your resume and showcase that. Your technical skills, your internship and work experience, any volunteer experience, student involvement, relevant academic projects and research. I recently saw a resume which I really liked is they have their personal projects, and then underneath the personal projects they did outline which ones were true personal projects that they did with interest at home versus the ones that they were doing at school. I like to see that, and I think that's helpful for hiring managers to see as well, because it just shows that you're thinking outside of the box. You're doing something, that's not just based within this like kind of the core curriculum of what you need to do for your class, but you have a true interest in doing something outside of school. Moving on here. So what does not belong on a resume? Obviously, references, most companies will ask, once you've got through the entire, recruitment process, if they want to see references, they'll ask for them. Headshots, we obviously, don't need to see those on a resume. We want to kind of, review a resume for what it is and not obviously have a headshot on there. We'll get to meet you in person, hopefully at some time in the future. Soft skills section. Honestly, we do see folks putting their soft skills, great communication, team player. But if you're writing your resume for your intended audience, we will be able to pinpoint that you have those soft skills through the projects that you're doing or the work experience that you've had. And then we don't want to see any sort of misrepresentation on your resume as well. So don't showcase any skills or experiences that you don't possess. I know many companies, they're looking for candidates who have integrity. So at some point during the interview process, we usually tell a candidate that, whatever's on your resume is fair game for a manager to ask about, and they will dig into, say you have experience with a certain technology. Manager's going to ask you what your experience is and how you've used it. So it'll be easy identify whether you do have that skill or not. Then moving on to formatting guidelines. At least for undergraduates, we do like to see a one-page resume, and we also like to see that saved in a PDF format, at least for our applicant tracking system. And I'm not sure about, other companies, but if it's a PDF format, it'll truly stay on one page. And I'm not sure why it does it, but if you do have, if it shows as one page on a Word document for you all, if you do apply to a role with us and it is on a Word document, for some reason it does carry over to 2 pages. So definitely save it as a one-page PDF document. You want it to be easy to read and have good use of white space. I know we see a lot of resumes with, colors, colored fonts on there, but having a boring looking resume is okay. A resume, it's all about the content and the needs, and it needs to be easy to read for, the recruiters. Remember that, we generally scan a resume in less than 10 seconds. We want to look for something with standard margins, 11 to 12 point for the body of the resume, standard fonts, reverse chronological order, and be consistent with formatting. So what I mean by that is sometimes we'll see candidates put the date in as SEPT for short, SEPT period, and then in another area they might use September. So definitely just keep the formatting consistent, and again avoid colors and the use of charts. So again, this is just really typically what CoStar looks for in a resume. Other companies might look for something different, and it's worth connecting with recruiters from those companies because you'll get a sense of how they generally like to see a resume formatted. But again, here we have the name at the top, we have the email, the contact, phone number, the city and state where you live, and include, if you've got a LinkedIn page, definitely include that. And I would say make sure that your resume is relevant to your LinkedIn page, because I'm not sure what the companies do, but down the process with CoStar Group, there is, we definitely look to make sure that LinkedIn profiles reflect that of what's on somebody's resume. And then also, if you have a GitHub, I definitely include your link up there and showcase any work. You want it to have your education up top, so it's immediately apparent. It shows, what you're studying. So to me, then I can say, oh yes, okay, so they're studying computer science, so I know that they're looking for a technology position. Again, we've got your GPA on there. You can list any relevant coursework. We've got your expected graduation date, and you can list any sort of academic achievement on there. Okay, and then as far as technical skills, this would be, embedded underneath the education format. When looking at a resume, the first thing we do here at CoStar, we're going to make sure that your education is what we're looking for. And then we're going to immediately move on to the technical skills, just to see, what experience you might have, what programming languages, software, databases. We're not looking for students to be experts in any of these given technologies, but just really looking to make sure that you have the fundamental foundation knowledge of these programs. And then when it comes to writing the bullets, bullet points on your resumes, I know somebody mentioned earlier, having, great action verbs. Passive, we try to avoid passive verbs really because they're vague and they don't give a reader, a clear idea. So you should be using action verbs in your resume because these, make statements more direct, dynamic, and more impactful. They clearly convey actions and achievements, making the resume much more engaging, and it highlights your contributions effectively. So this helps employees quickly understand your skills and accomplishments. So you can see, different action verbs versus passive verbs here as examples. So underneath the education, and then your technical skills would then come, your experience. So I would take some time, thinking and listing the most meaningful intern, school, and work experience that you have had since starting college, and then circle the most substantial experiences and the ones that you've learned or honed in on your skills. And then for each of those, those experiences that you circled, I'd draft 2 to 3 bullet points describing the responsibilities or the achievements you had while in the role. Remember to start each bullet with an action verb, and that'll provide contextual detail to inform the reader about the purpose of your work, the scope of your project, and what you did to produce or accomplish. And so you can see just an example here. The action verbs are organized, over 5,000 documents to improve operational efficiency by 50%. Another example would be analyzed and optimized website performance, reducing render time by 4 seconds using Lighthouse. So you're really thinking about the what. So what did you do? What was the situation or problem or the challenge you were facing? And what were the responsibilities and goals? And then you're thinking about the how. How exactly did you do it? How did you accomplish your task? Did you use any tools, equipment, or computer programs? And did you work as part of a team or independently? And then the why. Why are the actions important? How did they benefit the organization? What was the result or outcome of the actions? Um, and can you qualify the results? I think that's really important to show any time that you can, add numbers in there about how you've improved a process, definitely include those. And then following experience, and this might change depending on, whether you have relevant work experience or not. I would say, obviously, for folks who may be in their first and second year, might not have had an internship experience yet. So, in which case you might want to do your education, your technical skills, and then move into your relevant project. And then when you've had work experience, put your work experience before that. But when you're talking about relevant projects, you want to put the title, the summary of the project, and the technologies used. And again, just mentioning earlier, I've recently seen on a resume where they put like a personal project versus a school project. I like to see that as well. And then I would definitely list any campus involvement that you've had. If you're a member of any student groups, and how did you play a part in that? What did you do? Especially if you were in a leadership role, I would certainly include that, because it's nice to see that someone, has some leadership experience. And then again, you can underneath additional, you can include, any foreign languages that you might have, or, community involvement. And then just moving on to some of the best practices. Again, you've probably just heard this from us, but have your resume reviewed often by a mentor, professor, the career center, advisors, or a recruiter. We're always happy to review a resume. If you, connect with us on LinkedIn, or you have our email address, feel free to reach out. Always happy to schedule a quick call and to kind of review that with you on a one-on-one basis. Having others review your resumes, it can provide valuable feedback on the content, the structure, and just the overall presentation. The layout should be, simple and easy to read. Use bullet points versus blocks of text to create more white space. Having white space is okay. Limit your resume again to one page if you can. Keep the formatting consistent. Avoid graphic pictures, and watch out for typos. So spell check doesn't always pick up on spelling errors, especially if things are capitalized. So just again, that having somebody, review your resume can catch, small formatting errors or spelling errors like that. And then again, when looking to save your resume, just remember to try and save it, as a PDF with, your name and resume. I often sometimes get, resume sent to me that say just, resume version 5. And that's okay, but it's just best practice and professional to save it, as a standard name and resume. And then some of the resources I would highly encourage you to check out if you haven't done already. The Center for Engineering, Career Development has a great website. If you want to click on that, Taylor, it should open that up. Okay. It's opening up somewhere, but these links we're happy to share this presentation with you, but these links are included. But you all have great resources at your fingertips. Obviously, this will tell you what events they've got going on, and then you've got the Career Center. Again, also has some really great resources for you to go on there. There's lots of examples of different types of resumes, talking about different, action verbs that you can be using, what you should be doing, what you should be including. So again, these are all resources at your fingertips. And then there's Handshake, there's resume reviews such as these, and then, resume templates as well for you all to use. That kind of brings me to the conclusion of our resume workshop. Figured we can open it up for, question and answers if anybody has any questions for us.
You can put questions in the chat, or you can come off mute and ask out loud if you would like to. Maybe while folks are typing or thinking, one question I had seen earlier in the chat was about bolding keywords within your resume to just make them stand out a little bit. What do you all think about? Do you like to see that? Does it make it easier for you to see those keywords you might be looking for, or not?
I don't really have a preference. I just prefer the full button to be consistent, and I'm very much a paper person, and most people laugh at me because I like to print out resumes and I use a highlighter and I go through and highlight that sort of stuff personally. Other people might like to see those sort of skills bolded. I think, bolding's fine. I wouldn't go and highlight anything. It's just kind of a personal preference, I think.